Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Timmy Kemza James. So new and old subscribers, you're all welcome. I love you all. So in today's video, we're going to be learning how to sew our mermaid dress that we cut in our previous tutorial, which I'm going to be linking it up here. So it will be better for you to watch that before watching this, so that you have an idea of what we are doing here, because I'm not going to be talking about the cutting. I extensively talked about it in the previous video. So I have here the skirt panels. I have 3 panels, the front and the 2 back panels. It has a train, guys. So I have the yoke part here, which will be using this shimmery fabric. It's a sequin fabric. So I have my main bodies here. These are the main bodies of the dress, right? So because it's a plunge neckline, so you can see that's why we have that very deep cut there. And this yoke is going to be in front of is going to cover the plunge neck area, right? Then we have the facing. I just cut out facing because I don't want to line this fabric at all. So let's get into sewing. So guys, I'm going to be starting with the front panel, right? So I'll be fixing this part first. So I'm using this side. This is actually the wrong side of the fabric, but I kind of prefer it to the actual to the right side of the fabric. So I'm going to be using the wrong side as the right side, right? So what I'm going to do now is to fix my yoke in front first before I put my darts. So you can see I'm just going to match the midpoint like this together. Then I'll just poke a pin in that area, right? I'll now bring it to my sewing machine. You can do this by hand. Actually, it will be better for you to do it by hand first before you sew it. You stitch it on the machine, so it will be better that way. But I really don't want to go through the procedure of any hand stitching right now. But when you're doing yours, you should do it like that. So I'm just going to be sewing now. So I'll take out that pin and I'm going to poke my needle, my machine needle, in that side to enable me to rotate the fabric as I begin sewing, right? So before I start sewing, I'm going to create a notch on the main fabric, right? That will ease that point that I'm going to use to start my stitch. So I'm going to go and follow it. Now, one thing you want to do at this point, right, because this is the most difficult part of sewing this dress, one thing you have to do here is to consider your seam allowances. You want your seam allowance to be equal from start to finish, and on the other side you also want to do the same thing, because if you take seam allowances that are not the same, you're most likely going to have issues with the outcome. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So now that I've notched that point, I'm going to notch the yoke point as well. So this notch is really, really important to make, right? Because it allows your fabric to turn without having issues. Now I'll flip it to the other side, trimming off any excess thread that I have. Then I'll align the other side before I start sewing. This other side of it is actually very tacky, so you have to be very, very careful while doing this. And I'm not in a rush, so I'm going to do this before I bring my facing. Don't try to do the both, like the facing piece, at the same time. You're most likely not going to get a pleasant result. So I'm just going to go ahead and sew again. Now I want to ensure that I'm using the same seam allowance as I did to the other side. So guys, if you're watching this to this level and you're not a subscriber yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. I have beautiful designs that I teach here regularly, so go ahead and hit the subscribe button now, right? It's totally free, guys. So you can see at this point, this is what it looks like. So when you see, if you see anything like this, you're seeing this side that it's poking out like so. I don't know if you can see that. You're seeing that side. Don't worry about it. When you press down with the iron, it will relax nicely. And then I'm coming here to chop off excesses at the back. It will also enable that point to relax. So I'm just going to chop off my excess, and then I'll use my pressing iron now, because the way this sequin material is, it does not like you ironing directly on it. So I'll get a piece of fabric, a separate piece of fabric, most suitably a cotton fabric that I'll place there, then I iron on it. And then you don't want to go like this with the iron, you just want to press down the iron, you lift it up like that until you're done ironing. So this is what we have at the front side. I'm going to go ahead and insert my darts now. So I could bring my pattern and mark my darts, but that won't be necessary. So as you all know, if you're a lazy kind of person, you know there's this belief that sewing is not for lazy people, but guys, I'm one hell of a lazy tailor. So I try to avoid what I can avoid and do what I can do. So don't be like me. So I'm inserting my darts. Don't forget, we have two darts on this dress. We have the regular standard dart in front, and then we have the underbust side dart. So I'm going to be inserting all of those as well. So my standard dart is done. I'm going to be inserting my side dart. So guys, here we go. My both darts are well inserted. So because I've not ironed it, that's why it looks like this. I'm just going to go ahead and fix my facing, right? So this is my facing to cover up this stitch, because we are not lining this piece. So I'm just going to match my facing from here, from that midpoint, and then I'm going to sew nicely. So just like I inserted the yoke, is this in the same manner that I'm going to be inserting my facing, right? Now you have to be careful when doing this. So you really want to follow your initial seam that you have there, right? Because if you don't do that, you're most likely going to have issues, because it's going to introduce a new seam on the dress. That's if you understand what I'm saying. So it's either you don't get to your initial seam, or you sew directly on your seam, on the first seam that you have there, and you really want to make sure that any fabric is not laying on any fabrics are not laying underneath each other. I'm coming over to do the other side. I'm just flipping it just like I flipped when I was doing the yoke. This is a very easy dress to sew, but you have to get this side right. After this side, you don't have a lot of problems anymore. You have to ensure that everything aligns. Alignment is the main thing, guys. Now I'm going to create notches. So that when I raise it up, it will be a little bit relaxed before I add my before I press it down. So here we go. This is the front and this is the back side. You can see our seams are nice and covered, right? So I'm going to conceal this armhole side that I have. I'm just flipping it across each other like this, then I conceal. This is the most difficult thing that we've just done, right? I'll conceal the other side. So you can see this is it. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the exact same thing on the back side. So the back is just a straight line, and you know this part of the back is divided into two, so it's not much of a hard work. Like this is very easy. So the same technique that is applied here, you insert your yoke, then your facing, then your dart. That's just what I'm going to be doing on the back. So here we have our back panel, you can see. So this is our zipper line, and we have our front panel here. This is our front panel, so it's supposed to match here like so. So this is the shoulder line, right? So I'm going to go ahead and press this nicely. So for our skirt panel, I'm just going to start from the front. I'm going to insert my darts for the front and the back. I'm just going to insert all my darts first before I come to join them. So after doing my dart, I'll bring the front, my upper front and my skirt front. I'll make sure my dart aligns. Before I start sewing, I'm just going to double check. So my dart does not align, so I'm going to go ahead and ensure that it aligns. Once I ensure my dart aligns, I'll go ahead to sew down using half of an inch sewing allowance. I'm joining the upper side and the lower side together. Front side of the dress is done. I'm going to go ahead and align the back side of the dress. So you can see it's nice and done. I'm going to go ahead and match my back so that I can sew them together. I'm trying to close the back side of my dress, so I'm leaving allowance. The side I'm going to be using for my zip, I'm going to leave that side open. So I'll start sewing on somewhere around here. My zip allowance was 1 inch, so I'm just going to close that 1 inch. So I have my back side fixed now. This is my zip line. So I would have fixed the zip now, right? But I want to close the dress first because I'm going to need to change my working foot to my zipper foot before I fix the zip. So I'll just go ahead and join the front side of the dress together with the back side of the dress. I'll match the shoulder and do the shoulder first. That's the shoulder including the sleeve. So I'm going to join the shoulder and sleeve first. When I'm done with this side, I'm eventually going to bind it using bias so that this sequin will not poke the client. So I'll bind that the raw edges with bias when I'm done with everything. So I'm doing the side seams now. I'm done with the shoulder. I have 1 inch sewing allowance to work with. So I'm going to just use my 1 inch sewing allowance. Now I'm ensuring that every point where there's a seam line joining one part to another, what I want to do is to ensure that that seam line matches. So at this point, this is what our dress looks like. You can see this is what it looks like, right? Then it has the tail, the mermaid tail. You'll see it much later. So now I'm going to be inserting crinoline at the or horsehair braid at the hem. So guys, to insert my zip, I took out my zipper, my working foot. You can see this is our working foot. So I'm going to be inserting my zipper foot like so. So I'll just come over here to change it to my zipper foot. If you don't have a zip foot separately, you can go ahead and use your working foot. It might be a little bit more stressful, but it's totally workable. So I'm just going to be fixing my zip, right? Ensuring that my zip allowance that I left is accurate, right? Just raise my foot and close the zip. This zipper foot is so easy to use, guys. It makes your work a lot easier. So this is a zip. You can see a dress. So I'm going to find a way to bind the neck. I'm not sure what kind of binding I want yet. That's why it's like this. So this is our dress. I would show you after I must have pressed it down. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you learned a thing or two, why not hit the subscribe button now and also hit the notification bell so that you'll be informed whenever I have videos like this up on my channel. And do ensure to like this video if you found it helpful, and also drop all your questions, your observations. If you have any question on any dress or whatever you'd like to see me do next, go ahead and drop your questions in the comment box. I'll be there to answer you. See you in my next video, guys. Bye.